Dewo, good morning. Mmamano, onofia onozo, mmamano, ibo belu no biko ekele mu n'ụtụtụ a. I greet you this wonderful morning. I don't know what the weather looks like where you are, but where I am, it's rather damp. It rained quite a bit last night, but I hope that it is sunny where you are. Welcome to another segment of Chiism Live. This is a very special segment because it deals with something that's really I don't want to use that word, but I'm kind of forced to use it, devastating our people. Our focus today is not going to be on anybody but our people of African descent and what is happening to us by people we put our trust in, our pastors. And to help me today, as always, is the one and only Dibia Ochwaja. Keo,
Yagazie.
Yagazie, my brother. How are you? How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I've been moseying over the topic for today, and I got to tell you, I don't know how to put it. I'm just speechless at the moment. Perhaps as we continue to roll, I'll get it all together. I'll stop laughing.
I know. I just welcome Matthew, and I would like to welcome Nosferatu as well for joining us today. It's always good. For me, it's always good when we have individuals that are watching us, and then of course we've got Charles Ugochukwu. Welcome, all of you. Thank you for joining us this morning. And I'm sure a lot of you are curious about the topic of today. And before we get started, let me just invite you to join us on some of the areas that we've made available for you to contact us. You can contact us at chiism.org, where we have a lot of information about our organization that you will learn from. And you can also visit us at Facebook, on our Facebook page, Chiism Global Faith Ministries of Chiism, Godianism on Global Faith. On Facebook. And if you want to get in touch with us on Chiism Live, is chiismlive@gmail.com. And if you want to call us on the phone, 248-773-1857. So I welcome you, and welcome you. I had a conversation this morning with, first of all, I had a conversation with a young woman in Nigeria. She, as a matter of fact, she's a publisher and a newspaper publisher. And I asked her what she thought about the topic that we're going to talk about today, and that is what the devastation meted against the poor in Nigeria at the hands of pastors. And she paused for a while, and I had to ask, "Are you there?" She says, "Yes, ma'am, I'm there." But this is a very serious matter because a lot of these people don't have the means to go after their own needs on their own. They don't have money. Many of them have no food to eat. Many of them don't even have homes. They are squatting with someone else. But when you have somebody who promises a miracle, they go to that person. And these pastors are taking advantage of it, promising them, "You don't even have to work hard. I'll just work a miracle for you." And I also had a pastor from Nigeria who contacted me to express quite an alarm that we're going to be talking about this. And what will we do with this? And he wants to make sure that we don't use his name in our conversation. And I don't know who you are, but if the shoe fits, you wear it. I don't have to call your name. There was a reason why you call it. What are you calling me for? Tell me not to use your name. I don't know who you are. But nonetheless,
he wants to get ahead of the game.
He's looking ahead. I said, I'm not one of your con, okay? So as a matter of fact, if you want to know what we're going to talk about, get on the show and listen, because this is an imperative. You need to hear what we're doing. So I just want to pick up on some of the things that we are covering today. we have pastors, they call them men of God, men of God. They are using actors to deceive people. Judy, what are your thoughts on that? Well, before you go talk about that, they use actors to deceive people, and you have one that claims that he wakes the dead. He wakes the dead. Now that's kind of strange, isn't it? If Chineke wants that person to continue their journey, who are you to come and say get up? And how exactly do you do that when the
Well,
body is dead? Well, you did talk
well, as far as the raising the dead thing, I can tell you how you do that.
about.
I can tell you how you raise the dead. All right. Now, in the Bible, because everything about Christianity, regardless of what school of thought of Christianity that you come from, whether you're Baptist, Presbyterian, Catholic, Anglican, it really doesn't matter. They'll read the Bible. And in that Bible, somebody performed some serious magic. Jesus Christ raised the dead. So they believe that a pastor who they place in a position of authority, like they place Jesus Christ in a position of authority,
Yeah.
can raise the dead. If Jesus did it, this guy can do it. Now, keep in mind, magicians sometimes it's like the more you see, the less you know.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Because you're believing that some magic is going to happen. So when the guy does a sleight of hands with the card, you go, "How did he do that?" You get all amazed. You know it's magic. You know there's a trick, but the trick is so
That's why it's
awesome.
called magic.
Yeah, it's so awesome to you. It's such an awesome trick. You go, "How'd you do that?" So you asked him, "How did you do that?" Because you already knew that he did something.
Uh-huh.
These people that clap when the pastor raises the dead, you think they don't know it's fake? They know it's fake, but there's a level of group think
Yes.
that is involved here. There's a level of, if I say something about what I'm seeing happening before me, I might, get some people upset
Mm-hmm.
in my social circle, right?
Yes.
Yes, it's sad to see some of these things. I don't know if it's because they don't have any knowledge of biology, if they don't understand rigor mortis. When you die after so many hours, you're stiffened up. No amount of Jesus Christ is going to get you back up. Once rigor mortis sets in, it's all over. So I don't know if it's because the people are not educated. I don't know if it is because they are so desperate to find solutions to their problems, since those people that have the responsibility to make their life better have pretty much disappointed them. I look at it this way. It's sort of like the hourglass effect. The way the hourglass is shaped, right?
Mm-hmm.
The sand is at the top, and you have those people that are supposed to make your life better, but instead they push you through the narrow path, and then the preacher man is waiting at the other end to grab you and grab all your desperation and take everything from you, because those people that were supposed to make your life better are not doing it. So you're looking for all kinds of ways to see if your life can ever change for the better. Now, it's sort of like people that go to the native doctors in Africa and talk about the fact that they're going to create some kind of magic so that they could become rich, so on and so forth. Well, there's a scientific part to it. Body parts is a lot of money in the body part market. Then the other part of it is that without a sound business plan, no amount of gonads that you harvest is going to make you rich. You just have to have a business plan, and you just as susceptible, as gullible as the guy or the woman who's listening to the preacher, who listens to the native doctor, who is not really a native doctor, who has set up shop just to con you, telling you to bring some eggs, bring some chicken, bring some this, bring some that. We'll put it all together, going about your business, and nobody's going to bother you anymore, or you're going to make a whole lot of money. Then you do all that stuff, you give him all that stuff, Now, what you gave him now belongs to him, but you've left the native doctor thinking that whatever it is that you were asked to do is what's going to make things better for you, right? There are good native doctors, there are bad native doctors. There are good preachers, Christians that actually do good things. Then you have these people that prey on the gullible because they are in business for themselves. And for them, religion is a business. It's about making money. It's about finding how many desperate, wretched people that you could get your hands on that are willing to, part with their money, that are willing to sacrifice their own children. There were some cases in Nigeria where pastors were driving 6-inch nails into the heads of children, convincing the parents that the reason why they are poor is because their children or their child is a witch. And the parents are willing to sacrifice their child to get rid of this witchery because the pastor says so. So to give the pastor whatever the pastor is looking for or is asking them for, so that they could drive this wizardry or witchery out of their family, as opposed to just telling them the truth. The government is corrupt. Look at what happened with the SARS, or should I say the COVID relief in Nigeria, where government officials were tasked with, distributing relief to the masses. Why they stay at home, to try to curtail the spread of COVID. What did these government agents do? They kept it and started to sell it to the people that were supposed to receive it for free. Same thing here. If you have a corrupt government, you're going to have corrupt preachers, particularly in Africa, where 99% of people in the Southeast go to church.
Yes.
You don't find the same thing going on up north. There's corruption, they're poor over there, but there ain't too many imams that is telling them, give me your riches and I'll make you rich. Now, what they do up north, though, is get the desperate young folks that got nowhere else to go, put them into a military, organization like Boko Haram, give them guns, put food in their stomach, and put them out there to go kill their own people.
Yeah.
So it does happen over there, but in a different way. But in South Africa or in the Christian organizations that proliferate in Africa, it's really sad that people are so desperate to improve their conditions that they're willing to do anything, even when they know that what they're doing is wrong, but they're willing to give it a chance, even though they know that it's wrong. And for me, it's like having a thief write the laws that will convict him if he's caught stealing.
Well, you know
why I said that? I said that because the people that you will expect will help to curtail this con game that is going on in Africa are all Christians.
Well, and it's not just in Nigeria. It's in South Africa, in Ghana, and but let me take a moment and welcome our other guests and add him to the stream. Nnamdi Osimiri. Nnamdi, welcome. Oh my God, he's got a top hat on and everything.
I love the hat.
He is ready. This topic calls for it.
Yeah, I'm loving it, Nnamdi.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Chills on the first.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. I'm loving what everybody else has. I feel underdressed right now. I feel underdressed.
No, you're good, man. The hat makes up for everything. So
hey, I do what I can. I do what I can.
Don't sweat
it. Welcome, Nnamdi.
Thank you.
This is a very, it's funny to some degree, but it's serious because we're taking advantage of vulnerable people. We're taking advantage of them. These pastors are doing things that are just absolutely horrific. Well, let's take, for instance, a situation where a pregnant woman went to church because she was feeling pain. And if you have watched that video, you will see where the pastor was kicking her stomach to make her feel less pain. People, talk me out of that madness. Would you please?
Let me just say something. What? Let me say something. Again, I talked about either ignorance, groupthink, or you don't want to upset those people around you that buy into the same nonsense that you're buying into. The lady was about 8 months pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
When you're 8 months pregnant, you expect some kind of discomfort and some pain. So instead of going to the hospital, because maybe you can't afford it, because of all the corruption around you, so you figured all I have to do is go to the pastor, maybe pay my tithes. If I make a dollar, maybe if I give up 10%, which is going to hurt me anyway, but it's not going to be as steep as going and paying for, medical service in Nigeria. But when you're 8 months pregnant, you expect some discomfort. You don't need to go to church and have the pastor kick the baby out of you while your husband is standing there. So either you're just totally stupid or you're just buying into the group thing, making the pastor look good because you feel that there might be some benefit to looking absurd in front of everybody else. Because when you're 8 months pregnant, you will expect some discomfort. Whether you go to the hospital, you go to the pastor, or you stay at home and just try to deal with it. That's what being pregnant is all about. So for me, sometimes I don't necessarily, well, depending on the situation, for me, sometimes it's not so much about the fact that they actually believe that what they're doing is going to make any difference for them. Sometimes I just believe that because they are part of this particular, religious organization or whatever, they have to behave a certain way and act like they believe the con that is going on just so they get a positive response from the rest of the members. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of them believe this stuff, right? And they actually believe that if he does whatever he says he does, they're going to feel better. But a lot of them will get out there. If the pastor says, eat grass, you're a member of that church. Now you start thinking about your own welfare. If I don't get up and eat grass like everybody else, what are they going to think about me? What's going to happen to me? Am I going to be excommunicated out of this body? Now I don't have anywhere else to go to, have somebody, articulate my collective frustration or whatever.
But you have to also add the fact that the healthcare system is so bad.
Yes.
That a lot of these people, they can't even go and get any health care. So they turn to these pastors and they take advantage of it. Namdi, what do you think about that? The fact that this man, or even what Dibia talked about, maybe you want to add to it.
I agree with 100% with what Dibia said. There's two types of ignorance. You have ignorance due to lack of understanding, and you have cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance, for those that don't understand, is basically just following the nonsensical belief. When someone else puts something evident in your face, tells you that this is not just the truth based off of what someone says, but this is undisputable fact. So, but someone just ignores it. Those individuals, that type of ignorance is in individuals that will just ignore that. And just like he said, if you have someone that doesn't understand due to, let's say, their living situations, their environment, right? This woman is pregnant, but is this her first baby? If this is her first baby and she doesn't understand what the pain is, then you would ask questions. You would try to go to a medical professional to see what's actually going on. But because in Nigeria, you have individuals that are so steeped in that religious belief that takes away certain aspects of common sense, you would go to someone that basically doesn't care, but like he says, just does certain things to get a reaction from the crowd.
Yes.
That puts individuals' lives at risk, and they don't care. This isn't the first time that pastors have done this, especially in Nigeria, that they have done certain things of this level of stupidity that it's put other people in jeopardy. They just believe that, oh, well, I am a pastor. I have these people's respect, or I have their unwavering faith, not in the belief, but in me, because I am, quote unquote, the person that represents their belief, right? So that level of ignorance by the pastor ends up just working very well with the ignorance of the person that approaches them and comes to them with nothing but unwavering love, unwavering belief in whatever it is that they're going to do. And the baby is in jeopardy, the woman is in jeopardy, and he doesn't care, because in his mind, it's not like he actually even believes what he believes. It's, do the people following him believe what
To
he's
get a
doing?
rise out of them,
To get a
to get
rise.
them
Yeah.
to do the hallelujah thing. I want to
Yes.
share this with you right quick. There's a pastor who actually admitted that what they are doing is, they certainly know, they know that what they're doing is wrong. However, they get wealthy. They actually go to other churches to see how these pastors are building their congregation. When they try to do the right thing, all right, when their focus is on the Bible, or doing what supposedly Jesus wants them to do, or what have you, it doesn't work. For some of them, that is, it doesn't work. What works for them is that they do everything to get the people excited, and when they go out there, they talk about the miracle that happened in this church. Oh, you got to be a part of this church. And so he found out. He says within a year, he was rocking thousands in his church, because he was making all these miracles. They told him how to raise the dead. They taught him how to do all kinds of things. But let's talk about what they're doing to women. Why women are mostly recipients of the abuse. There's a pastor. You probably know this one. The pastor that has these women in front of him. They pull down their underwear and he shaves them. Could you talk about what the heck is that? What's that got to do with God?
Hell, I'm having a hard time shaving my own beard, but that's a different show.
Oh my God.
For me, I really don't know that. Look, I'm going to dance around a little bit, then I'll get to your point. I'm going to dance around a little bit because Nnamdi made some points, and I think I have to address it because he's right on point. But I'm going to do some juxtaposition here, right? Africans that go to church have been programmed from birth. I think last year we talked about Jesus loves me, this I know. You heard it first at home.
Yes.
Then you went to kindergarten and you heard it.
Yes.
Then you went to primary school, you heard it.
Again.
You went to college, you heard it. Then you heard it in church on Sundays. Then your mama sang it to you.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you become an adult, that thing, that elusive common sense is gone.
Yes.
Elusive. Can't find it anywhere.
Yep.
You got medical doctors that believe in Adam and Eve. You got archaeologists that believe in Adam and Eve, but they're archaeologists, they're historians.
Mm.
You got archaeologists that go to church on Sunday that believe that the world is 7,000 years old. These people are programmed. Those people that marched on to Congress, you think they didn't know that what they were doing was wrong?
Mm.
But that group thing, they're part of this group. They're part of this craziness. They have to show
Madness.
that they're just as crazy as everybody around them, because that's how they feel whole. That's what makes them tick. That's how they fit in into their group. They marched up there. They all knew it was wrong. But now they blame the pastor, Donald Trump. He made us go there.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back to the women. I just had to get that out of my system.
Mm-hmm.
Women are emotional beings, right?
They're
very emotional. Very emotional. Unless the women are like you, Ogele, okay, Dibia,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
that feel that you don't need a man taking care of you unless you are like Adora, who can get out there and make things happen for themselves. Most women is only 55, 60%. There are the other 45, 40, 45% that are just like you, that get out there and make things happen. The other part are dependent on authority to function. So when that person in the position of authority, which is usually a man, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Billy Graham Jr. Billy Graham said that God blesses man through man. That only men are servants of God. He said that during Trump campaign. Billy Graham said it. These women believe that they are second to men. They believe in subserviency, that's subservient to men. I think during the political campaign, a woman was asked, why do you think that a woman cannot make a good president? What did she say? Because women got hormones. Yet all wars were started by men. Don't they have hormones too?
Well, it's that programming. It's that programming. It's that programming.
They are programmed to take authority from men. So whatever men tell them on any sphere of human endeavor, they follow it. They just do. A woman said that a woman cannot be president because she got a lot of hormones. It came from a woman. And the woman doesn't have to be a white woman. African women believe, a lot of African women believe the same. Not all, but at least 40% of them do.
Oh, yes.
And that is why they are susceptible, because they believe that, first of all, God as a creator is male.
Yes.
Jesus is male. Abraham, the father of humanity, is male. Look at all the people in the Bible: Paul, Saul, David, Solomon, Matthew, John, Peter, you name it, the popes. Every Christian man, a person in authority that oversees a flock, is male. They have been programmed to be subservient. So whatever that man says in the context of religion and saving one's soul, the women will do whatever they're asked to do, because the authority in front of them is male. It is conditioning. That is the truth of the matter. That's just the way it is.
It's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Just in that sense, the Bible, any position of establishment, any position or any system developed for power is always taking a patriarchal role.
Absolutely.
So when it comes down to religion, what is religion? Religion is one of the first and main tools that was used for colonization, let alone control. So if you have the ability to control the people, the mind of the people, why are you not going to remain or utilize that to push the patriarchal, whatever patriarchal position and thought process you have on anyone else? Especially when it comes, just like you said, when it comes down to women. Now, 40%, 50%, as he said. And for me, I stand with the women that actually know how to accept a position of equality and know that they can stand with basically any person. There is no, men are better than this. No, women should be able to see themselves in whatever position and do whatever it is that they can. But he was absolutely right when it comes down to the emotional, the emotional stance of certain women. Now, when we say women are emotional, we're talking about, let's say, their
motherly instincts and stuff.
Motherly instincts, exactly. So they, when it comes down to it, they will see the passion in what's being presented And that's what they're going to pass on to their children. And when I think about it, I'm sitting here looking like somebody actually convinced these women, or this person's this person's mother must have convinced this man that what he's doing is ordained by God. Like
Yeah.
there's no way that a woman is going to see this and say this is acceptable unless a woman told him that it was acceptable, and unless other women around him actually believed that that was
They believe it.
acceptable.
Yeah.
So
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, you go right ahead.
Well, I think when all is said and done, the abuse of religion as a tool, religion as a tool benefits the people, not necessarily just these pastors. Let's understand that these pastors are part of a bigger picture, right? When you suck enough people into this spiritual way of thinking, the people on top are benefiting from it, because a lot of these religions, even though you're an individual church, you still have to pay your own tithes to a higher order.
Yeah, it's a
So
business.
they make money. They don't care about
Yeah.
truth. It's not about truth. And let's understand that not only is it a money-making machine, it is also part of the destabilization of Africans.
Absolutely.
The mother and father are powerful in how the society runs. If you convince one or the other that one is less than, you are not functioning with all the power that you could. And unfortunately, the one that is taught that she is less than is the one that propagates more the issue. It's more women in church. And once you are operating from a position of weakness, you spread that weakness through your children. But at the same time, you're teaching your males that they are better and bigger than their females. They act accordingly. They demean their women, not realizing that by demeaning them, they're actually perpetuating weakness, because it's these women who train and raise the children. A weak woman will raise a weak child. A strong woman will raise a strong child. Never mind that the father gets all the praise when the child does well, because the child has his last name. But if the woman is powerful and teaches that boy or girl that they have the capacity to do all sorts of things, right? They rise. But when you're telling them all this negativity about who they are and they should allow these men to do all these things to them, you are perpetuating inferiority, and you are perpetuating what you see. I talked to this young girl today, and I asked her, this is not a matter, because I believe in man. We are in this together. There is no man without a woman. There's no woman without a man. But let's look at it. Every leader, even all those pastors that you go in front of them and cower, bow in front of them and allow them to do all this nonsense to you, they came out of you. They are the products of your groin, of your loins. Why are you bowing in front of them and allowing them to demean you like that? Because you've been conditioned to think that you're less than. And once you believe that, anything can be used against you. Anything can be done to you. Let me give you guys a scenario you need to talk about. This pastor impregnated so many women they couldn't count, because he's planting the seeds of God. Now y'all talk about that. Now I'll put that on the table.
You know what? If I wasn't married, I might just become a pastor. To hell with years of life, man. Listen, let me make this point, and I think this is very, very important, right? Christianity in particular breeds a generation of women that feel guilty about being woman. Biblically speaking, and Christianity is about the Bible. Without the Holy Book, there's no Christianity. Biblically speaking, all the ills that befell man, all the sins of man was propagated by woman. Eve made Adam eat that apple. Even though God did not tell Eve not to eat that apple, he told Adam. God fell. The first time that man fell from God's grace was because of woman, that evil woman that consulted with Satan, with Lucifer, and made Adam break his word to God that he would not touch that tree. And when God went to Adam and asked Adam, what did Adam say? I was doing just fine until you sent that woman. Sodom and Gomorrah. When God told Lot to leave Sodom with his family and not look back, guess who looked back? His wife. And she got turned to what? Sand. Samson, big, powerful, killing the Pharisees, doing all this stuff, killing the lion with his bare hands. When Samson fell, who cut his hair? Delilah. I can give you all kinds of instances where a man fell from God's grace because of woman. Christianity has planted the seed of guilt, that the reason why man has fallen from God's grace is because of the woman. And because of that, women forever try to correct their biblical sins, their religious sins. They try to be the good wife. They try to be the one that treats the husband like a king, just so the husband will not fall from grace, because I'm the reason why. My husband can make it if I'm right. And if I ain't right, my husband will fall. Blah, 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 blah. That is why you can tell a woman in church to drop her underwear and she'll do it. Now, how many female preachers tell men in the church to drop their underwear, and how many men will do it? Because they were not raised to take those kinds of orders from women. They were not raised to feel guilty that the reason why a woman has fallen from God's grace is because of them. That was not how they were socialized in their religion. So because of it, I feel that women forever, through the generations, try to make up for their sins in the Bible. And that is why they're susceptible. That's why a woman will sit there and let a man kick her in the stomach.
Kick her in the stomach.
And get pregnant. When you look at those people in South Africa that were chewing grass, 80% of them were women. How many men were there chewing grass?
Thank you. I saw that. I noticed that.
Yeah. How many men do you see acting like that in church? It's always women. A lot of men, and I've spoken to them, a lot of men tell me, I'm just there in church because of my wife. I don't believe that stuff, but I just want to have a happy home. And if I don't go to church with her, I got problems when I get home. And like I told Dr. Anthony Evans in Dallas, Texas, back in 1987, when I first got to the house, I had a conversation with him, and he was trying to get me to convert and be born again. And I said, let me just say this to you, Doc. You do realize that if the Chinese had brought you over here and enslaved you, you'll be a beast right now.
That's right.
He looked at me and said, you know what, UD, I never thought about it that way. And then he said, this is a business and you need money to evangelize. And that's it.
That's it. It's about money.
It's all about money. It's all about getting in people's purses and wallets so that you could build this institution of a financial, opulence, where the same people that helped you build it cannot afford to attend the university that you just built out of their own sweat.
That's what,
they keep doing it.
Powerful, powerful words. I want to read something here, and then I'm going to pause and show you a movie, not a movie, a video of a Nigerian pastor who has claimed that on the 28th of this month, he was going to raise 8 people from the dead. I tried to find out, because let me make this clear. If a man had raised 8 people from the dead, it will be the news today. Okay? I scoured the internet and everywhere to find out, did he raise these 8 people? If it was real, it would have been in the news. So, but anyway, I want to read this from Obionyoha, Adoha, Obionyoha. Welcome. Thank you for being on the show. These con men are successful because they prey upon the gullibility of their wealthier adherents and the desperation of the poor. Thanks to corrupt politicians, these fertile conditions are created. That is very true. There it is right there. There it is right there. So now I'm going to pause and show you guys, and I want you to comment on this guy. The straight face that he used to make this video.
They tell them that Onyeze Jesus will raise 7 dead bodies in the mortuary in the city of Onitsha. 28th of this month, January 28th, I will be in a top hospital in this Onitsha, the biggest hospital in this Onitsha, to raise a mortuary, to raise 7 dead bodies. Before, and just wait date. Okay, that day. Invite, share this message, share this broadcast. Bafa no onyes de Jesus again. Ekunima the 7 mola one mortuary 28th of this month. Oga the way. Can we buy in God? Can we power? Can we buy in Jehovah? Can we power? I'm sure, man. Sakana search worldwide. Anyaderebua. This year, this month, 28th of January. Agama oni mado 7 mola when you wait date agejikwa. So wait for us that day. Share this message. Share this as many groups as you can. 7 dead bodies shall be raised by the power of the Most High, by the power of Jehovah Nissi. You will believe. And after that, Amaka Gesimoke Watibu.
Well, I tell you what, I'm making a prediction right now. Today is January the 31st. On February the 1st, 2021, I'm going to be eating 7 different soups. Okra soup, egusi soup, and I'm going to be eating it with fufu. How about that? That's my prediction. You know what? Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay, let me just, you see, I was going to laugh about it. Now I'm confused. And the reason why I'm confused is there are people that are going to show up there. And he said something very interesting. He said, I'm not going to raise those people that just died.
Yes.
I'm going to raise those that are already dead and rotten away.
Yes.
Their skin will come back. Whatever degradation of the body that is going on, I'm going to bring it all together. I'm going to make the moon move and replace the sun, and then the sun will shrink and then take the place of the moon. And these people are going to believe all that stuff. Yeah. You know why? Because like Adon has said, the gullible wealthy make these people rich, plus the desperation of the poor. It is all a show, right? Like Rudolf Hess in Nazi Germany. He says, for you to convince people to follow you, you have to give them a show. That pastor in South Africa, right? When he's going to church, he comes in with a Rolls Royce. Then he has 8 white horses, you know, on the side of him. Yes. And these people are seeing all that wealth and saying, oh my God, God has blessed this guy. Maybe if I do what I'm told, I might end up like this guy. But never thought for a second that the guy is driving a Rolls Royce because of the money that you put in there. Not because of anything that guy did to earn that. All he did was understand that if he gave you a show, if you spoke in tongue, Then meanwhile, while they're speaking in tongues, God is sitting up there in heaven with a dictionary saying, what the hell is he talking about? Yes. You understand what I'm saying? So it's all madness. And when you sit there, and I'm just sitting there, and you tell, use your
What
common
language
sense.
is that?
Yeah, you say, okay, let me use common sense, and then you get overwhelmed by the sheer stupidity of it all. You can't handle it, and so it almost becomes difficult to talk about it. This friend of ours that we grew up with, she put a video on what is that you call your story on Facebook, and she's going, he's got the whole world in his hand. He's got the whole world in his hand. The hallelujah bit. And I'm going, see, that's the problem right there. That's why in Africa we're all messed up. Because we can't think. We defer. We buy into this religious magic, walking on water, raising the dead, feeding 5,000 people with a loaf of bread. It's Christian religion, or maybe all world religions, with a little bit of common sense, it's all about this magical effect.
But because the magic draws a crowd. The
Exactly.
magic draws a crowd. Remember what this guy said in his video. Bring everybody. He knows what he's doing. He knows that just the whole notion that he's going to raise, initially he said he was going to raise 8. He dropped it down to 7. Okay, that's good. So, but the bottom line, however, is it's the sensational component of
the magic.
The magical. Here's the other thing, and this is what defines the ignorance of the people who buy into that. You said it earlier. They don't understand how the body works.
No.
Once you die, you can't be patched together. You don't come back. So all those people that are coming back are actors. And they're being paid. And many of them are being...
Unless you're a RoboCop. Maybe you'll be some kind of cyborg,
Unless that. But they're being arrested everywhere.
Yeah.
Namdi, I want you to talk a little bit about your opinion when these pastors the husbands are allowing these pastors to fornicate with their wives.
Oh, Lord have
They're
mercy.
actually allowing these people to bless their wives by allowing them to have relationships with them. What are your thoughts on that? It's crazy.
The level of confusion, the level of softness that I can only comment on that level of idiocy. Like I said, these are individuals that are still being raised by individuals captivated by cognitive dissonance. That level of ignorance is passed on from the emotional and motherly aspect of the mother to the child, the boy, who ends up growing, just like he said, basically so captivated by the same song, right? They grow up in it. They continue to grow up in it. Then they continue to grow up. Now, all of a sudden, they're a grown man with a woman that is just as gullible as the mother that raised them. And then at the same time, they're so convinced that the man being ordained by God is so right because he's a man, that whatever he tells the man about what he's going to do with his wife, that was ordained by God too. So it's just a cycle. It's just a cycle of the whole thing. It's a cycle of ignorance. It's a cycle of, let's just call it what it is, absolute stupidity. There is no way I am going to allow an individual to convince me that if I'm the one that's supposed to be able to do what he claims to do, which is to create life, what makes me different from the pastor that is going to go and impregnate my wife? Is this something that I can't do? And then it's another thing. How is she, the wife, so convinced that this other man has the ability to do what her husband can't? How is she convinced that this man that claims to be ordained by God, claims to be the person that can actually give her the seed that she's never been able to get? Because it's a person that's standing on a stage and speaking in tongues. But the person that she's apparently connected with, married to, can't do the same thing.
I mean,
well, it is the power. It's the power that they give to the pastors and convince them that they can work all this magic.
Look at this. Just to add to what Namdi is saying, when the pastor is impregnating your wife, is he breaking any of the 10 Commandments? I mean, what part of this Christianism or Bible are you? Do you adhere to anyway? What you can adhere to one and break the other? I mean, is that not part of thou shalt not covet somebody else's wife? Does the parishioner not understand that commandment, that what the pastor is doing is wrong? Does the husband not understand that? Do I just pick and choose what commandment to break so that I could make the person, my victim, feel that, they are being blessed by God through me? I mean, what do I do? Pick and choose? Or maybe if do I need to kill somebody if killing is what is needed for you to be?
Well, they're doing a lot of killing. They're doing a lot of killing. The pastors are doing a lot of killing.
That's what I'm saying. I will let the pastor do the killing, break the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill. For what success? What sin am I willing to commit for my success? Because you're in there with a pastor. You can't tell me that you don't have any sense that what the pastor is doing is wrong. So unless you're not even ignorant, in other words, you just don't have a clue. You just don't understand right from wrong. In other words, anybody who does not understand right from wrong can only be considered a mental case.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're psychologically out of it.
Yes.
So everybody that you see in church that is extolling the sin of the father and doesn't understand that the preacher, and doesn't understand that what the preacher is wrong, consider every member of that organization a mental case. It might include the doctor in there. It might include the carpenter, the nurse. It might include people from different walks of life that attend that church. If what they see in front of them, that they consider what they see as something that is not a sin, or don't understand that what they're seeing in front of them is a sin, then you're looking at a generation of people with mental issues that go to church on Sunday because they can't discern the difference between right or wrong. So when I see my friends and all these people that come in here to make excuses for this so-called men of God, if you don't understand that what these so-called men of God are doing, then you are a mental case and you need to go see a shrink so that you could get straightened out. Because I don't believe that most people that attend those congregations don't understand that what they see before them is wrong. If they don't understand that, then they're mental cases, or they've been under this hypnotic spell from when they were babies into their adulthood, that they can't tell the difference between right or wrong anymore. They're just zombies. And last time I saw a zombie, it was in a movie.
Look, if I can add to that, everything said is 100% spot on. This is just the continuation of cultural genocide.
Yep.
This is all this is. It's just a continuation of cultural genocide. The reason why I say that is, Nigeria got its independence in the early 60s, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
1960.
1960. It got its independence in 1960. And at the same time, we are still continuing one of the processes necessary to keep individuals in bondage. But now you don't have white people going around just saying it, coming into the country and doing it. Now they've implanted so much nonsense.
Yeah.
Cultural, let's say cultural appropriation. You have black pastors acting almost as foolish as the people that came in and took the chains off of your ankles and then put it onto your mind and basically have convinced you, number one, your culture still doesn't matter. Any identification of spiritual belonging does not exist. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to fill your head with nonsense and things that don't represent you and things that will continue to destroy your cultural way of being,
and
your cultural way of
you.
life, and distract you and take away things that actually allow you to pay attention to what creates and what maintains anything dealing with nation building and nation formation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take away the person's understanding of, number one, spiritual belonging, cultural belonging, and you just continue to replace it with absolute stupidity, but it's still attached to what they feel that they can attach, that they can hold on to, which is the church, which is God, which is this. And then you convince the women to continue to create new generations to follow that stupidity. Now, all of a sudden, you continue to have an army and a new generation of slaves.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
An army. That's right.
An army of generational slaves.
Mm-hmm.
You have not convinced these people to see heaven in front of them.
Mm.
You haven't even convinced them to see heaven above them because it's too white for them.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're allowing individuals to convince you that they can kick you in the stomach in order to kick out the devil. You've convinced them that they can go and reverse science, biology, and go and dig up, individuals that are in the video games, zombies. As he said, it's in the movies and video games. I play enough shoot 'em up games. They don't come back, and when they do, they're trying to eat your brain. They're not trying to say hallelujah. There's none of that happening. It's not happening. But they've been convinced of that.
Yeah, look, I not to say something, and I just got to kind of expand on that a little bit. He had me with that one. Listen, you and I, did that. We went to Nigeria in 2018, and we were in the house of the supposed custodian of the culture. And this guy broke kola nut and said, in the name of Jesus, as if Jesus ever ate the kola nut. That's number one. Now, here's something else that people don't notice, and I've noticed it, and I'm going to cause a lot of controversy. People are going to be watching this show, and they're about to hear what I'm going to say. The Ezes in Nigeria wear red cap. You've seen those red cap, right? To justify their worth as royalty or Eze or chief, whatever you want to call yourself, they now put the British crown on it, on the cultural red heart of Igbo people. Look at every picture of an Igbo chief. I'm not talking about a regular guy with a red cap. Look at the Ezes, the elders, the chiefs, the supposed culturally made men. Look at their cap. You're going to see a crown, a British crown on it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a recent phenomenon. When I was in Nigeria, before I left for the United States 40 years ago, you didn't see that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any cap with a crown on it.
Wow.
Go into the houses of Africans. When you look at their furniture, it all looks like you're in Britain.
Well, look at the picture of God on the wall.
There you go.
Every one of them.
We have been resocialized to believe that everything African is inferior and everything European is superior. And very soon, everything Chinese is going to be superior.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, well, it's getting
British stuff. You see, it's a hierarchy. Now we at the bottom, British is at the top right now. In the near future, the Chinese are going to be here. It's going to be the British, and then it's going to be us down here. The third round. It is going on right now. The bed in the bedroom, the furniture in the living room, The king's hat has a crown on it. The furniture looks like you just walked into downtown Abbey. Everything is British. So we are at the bottom right now. There are no cultural institutions in Africa right now that can help reverse this trend. None exist.
Well, because it's so ingrained. When you tell people what's happening, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. You become the enemy. How dare you? How dare you? My pastor is not like that.
Yeah.
Well, we're not saying all pastors are like that, but they are those who are not functioning in your best interest. And you must be awake. And that's why it's so dangerous to get these women to think so less of themselves that they expose themselves to these atrocities. Having these pastors walk on their bodies. And can you imagine a pastor riding a congregants as a horse, or a man giving his daughter to a pastor so that he can prepare her for womanhood? She's only 15 years old. A pastor who will open the mouth of his congregants and spit in it, drink water and spit in it. A pastor who will pour in the mouth of a person who supposedly a blessed oil, anointed oil, to the extent that the child almost dies. A pastor who will take a nail and hit in the head of a child and call her a witch. And that Jesus Christ told him to take that witchcraft out of the child. And it goes on and on and on. For those Christians who get offended about what we're talking about,
or avoid the conversation altogether.
You need to be offended because these people are doing these things in your name. You must be on guard. I don't care what you believe in. Just use it to do good. But when you use it to do bad and it impacts my people, I will speak up. You don't have to like it, because that's what Chineke will have me do. If I do not speak up against the atrocities my people are experiencing, then I become I'm part of the problem. You Christians, wherever you are, you must guard for such pastors. They are masquerading as pastors, as innocent pastors, but they are not. In reality, they are dangerous. They are false prophets, false teachers, taking advantage of the poor. They are wolves. They are cunning. And they are preying on the sheep. These poor people who have no other alternatives. You should know, when people use your name to do bad things, you should stand up. You shouldn't tell the person who's telling the truth to shut up. You stand up. If you believe in what you're talking about, then stand up. Chineke does not want me to be quiet. Chineke does not want us to be a part of this. And that's why we're speaking up today. And we will continue to speak up. Until you correct yourself, you will always have people in this world who will tell you, you are wrong, you are wrong, you are wrong. You don't have the right to deceive the poor. You don't have the right to take advantage of people who are hurting, people who don't have the money to do any better, and they put their trust in you. It is wrong to take money from the poor, to feed your ego, to buy your jets, to buy your big fancy houses. It is wrong. And if you're a Christian and you think that's okay, and you're celebrating a man who's supposedly there to help, according to your Jesus, to help the poor, and he's riding a whole Rolls Royce with horses marching alongside him, you are wrong. You are part of the problem. So either you are going to be in support of good, either you're going to practice what you preach, or you better speak up when you see other people who are not doing otherwise. We will speak up. Because you know what? My people deserve better. It's bad enough that our people were taken and enslaved, taken out of the continent. That happened. Now you've got their minds in such bondage, and you don't want to speak up. You don't want to hear it. You think because you wear your African clothing, that makes you African?
Nope.
That's not what makes you African. You think because you can sing African songs, that makes you African? You can dance African dance, that makes you African? No. What makes you African is when you take the tenets of your culture and you apply it to the well-being of your nation and stand your ground and not allow people to come in there and take advantage of you. That's what makes you African. All this nonsense you guys are preaching is nonsense. Nonsense. If you don't want to hear it too bad, you're going to hear it somehow, because we're going to put it on this video. Get mad and get glad. One way or the other, either you wake up, either you speak the truth, or somebody will speak the truth for you. Africa is tired, and we're not going to put up with it anymore. And thus, the truth saying here. That is my thought today. You have any conclusions? Thank you.
Yeah, I was just looking at what North Ferratu wrote. Says, was fighting for the British independence for nothing, or independence from the French? What did we fight for? Including the fight for civil rights here in the United States. Exactly what is it that we for?
Yes.
Are we really interested in getting to a place of dignity, to be truly independent in all areas of human endeavor, in our minds, religion?
Mm-hmm.
Do we understand the importance of cultural consistency?
Mm-hmm.
Do we understand that most nations that are opulent in this world have one thing in common? They're culturally original.
Yes.
Most nations that have respect in this world are culturally original. They don't play second fiddle to nobody. You can look at the Europeans. You can look at the Jews in Israel. You can even look at the Arabs. We go to Dubai all the time. You can look at Japan, Korea, China. Look at all the nations in the world today that are taken as serious players. They have cultural consistency. They're culturally original. If you want to roll with them and dance with them, it's all good. You want to change anything, you got a problem on your hands. They don't change one iota to suit anybody. Do we understand that our first, what's the word I'm looking for? Your first defense against imperialism, your first anchor to build a nation, to form a nation, is cultural consistency. Culture is your defense, and your spirituality and religion is part of your traditions, your culture. That is your primordial core. That's what makes you who you are. A cat doesn't turn around, start looking for a bone to eat. A cat does what cats do. The British do what the British do. And one of the things that the British people, I see them do is this: they have this level of pomposity about them. The way they talk, the way they look at themselves, how they see themselves in the world. Chinese people, when you come to their culture, these guys are rabid about it. Japan was built on the shogun culture. What are we building a nation on? What is a nation built on? We speak in French in Senegal. Are we French? We speak English in Nigeria. You go to Ivory Coast, you're speaking French over there. You go to Congo, you're speaking Portuguese. What is it about Africans that is really African? We don't have any textbooks written in African language, not in science, not in literature, not in history, not in anything. History is not taught in school. We don't have any university dedicated to Black people the world over. How many Black universities teach in African language? What is it about Africa? What is it about our culture that makes us feel African? Is it the dance? Anybody can dance. I see white folks, Chinese dancing African dance. I used to dance, white people dance too. I could do the waltz. You don't make me European. Is it wearing the clothes? Japanese people can wear African clothes, so can the Chinese. I see it all the time. Language. African countries. Rhodesia used to be Rhodesia. Now Rhodesia is what? Mozambique. South Africa needs to stop being South Africa. It needs to become Zulu Nation or Zulu Natal, whatever the heck you want to call it. What do you call this country? Where Thomas Sankara came from, Upper Volta. Used to be Upper Volta. It's not Upper Volta anymore. It's been changed into an African, it has an African name. All these African countries that were created under the auspices of the French, the Portuguese, the British should all change their names to something that is African. We have to start identifying with our primordial core, language, the names of the countries, the territories that were created under what do you call it? British rule or French rule or what have you. We need to start looking inwards to solve our problems. The pastor in the pulpit is not going to solve our issue. Our issue is collective. We need to actually really ask ourselves, do we want better? And if we do want better, what is the prerequisite to doing better? What are the things that we need to do on a consistent basis so that we can identify ourselves as core Africans, do African things, and understand that the reason why we're in the condition that we are in today is because we were resocialized through slavery and also through what's the other stuff here? The word keeps skipping me, but you know what I'm talking about. When the British came in and did all that stuff, I'm a little emotional about this.
Colonialism.
Colonialism. That is why we're in the condition that we are in today.
But we don't have to stay there.
We are not the same people anymore. We weren't given the right to take our rightful place in the universe. We are no longer Africans. We think we are because we're dark-skinned, we live on the continent, but there is nothing that we do on a consistent basis that is African. And we need to be ashamed of our leadership. We are a reflection of those people that we have in power. We can no longer sit and talk about the fact that it is the leadership that is doing it. My father always said, you cannot hold the people at gunpoint that don't want to be held anymore. If you look for better and you ask for better,
you will get better.
Change and influence the leadership that you have. It is on you. It is not on your leaders, and definitely not on your pastor.
That's right. It's say. Namdi, thank you, Yudi. That was a mouthful. Namdi, your closing remarks.
That was powerful, and that was powerful. True. I have a saying, and this hit me years ago. At 4 o'clock in the morning, I got up. I had to write this down, and I still say this all the time. And hopefully this will be able to apply to what we've been talking about. What you say and what you think are two completely different things. What you say, the universe hears. What you think, the universe acknowledges and holds you accountable.
Say.
As Africans, or so-called Africans, I think we have officially thought of ourselves as not enough. Therefore, our actions begin to apply and show that we think that we're not enough. We think that we're not powerful. We think that we're not in the position of actually contributing to the world on a spiritual, financial, on basically any type of nationalistic level. And I'm talking about within the continent. That thought process applies to all of us.
Yeah.
On the continent, in Europe, in America, we have not connected the dots because we are still trying to, on a universal level for some reason, and this is the majority, not all, but the majority, are still trying to connect with individuals that still see themselves in the driver's seat when we built the car.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. We still are giving individuals the keys to us
Mm-hmm.
when we built the car. Do you really understand what I'm saying? For those individuals that are actually listening, you are allowing individuals to take the helm of not only your financial future, but your spiritual future, your cultural future. You've allowed individuals to actually commandeer who you are, warp it into something that they see fits them, and you're trying to accommodate them. This is what we found ourselves trapped in, this loop of not acknowledging that we have the same level of power, if not more power, within us on a spiritual level, which should actually begin to translate on a physical plane. We are not going to get the respect of anyone, let alone our own individuals, if we don't, of our own people, of our own nation, if we don't start to see ourselves as a nation together, not just financially, not just educationally, on all levels, especially spiritually. You cannot have individuals come over and basically take every aspect of your essence and call it dirt. Now you have your own people doing it because they're trying to fit into the narrative of the individuals that enslave them. All this is for some type of acceptance. From who? You are never going to be accepted. You are never going to be seen at the same level as individuals when you do not respect yourself. If we can't respect who we are on all levels, culturally, especially spiritually, no one else will. They will continue to come in, take our resources. They will continue to come in, take your people all the time. This has been happening for 300 to 400 years. And if we don't change our way of thinking, it is going to continue to happen for the next 300 to 400. It's not going to change. This is a loop. We find ourselves in this loop. And now all of a sudden, the main thing that keeps us trapped is our abandonment of our cultural prowess, which is more connected to our spiritual prowess than anything else, because everything else falls in line with it. As UD said, you have the Chinese, you have the Japanese, you have the Indians, you have the Muslims, you have these groups may be going through certain struggles, but most of their struggles are usually internal. No one else is going to continue to try and come in and commandeer who they are because they are steadfast in their culture. They have something to offer the world at a global scale. And no one is going to take that from them because their culture will not allow anyone to come in and take it from them. They already tried. And with that effort came the struggle. Of course, came the fighting, came the blood, sweat, and the tears, but at the same time, at the end of the day, they still remain in a position of knowing who they are. And for knowing who they are, no one else is going to come in and tell them who they are. Nobody is going to come into, no Christian is going to go into a Muslim's house and say, let me kick you in the stomach so I can remove
Oh my goodness.
remove the evil.
Mm-mm.
No matter what they believe, they will take the head of that man before you touch, or should I say, even look at his
You can't even
Muslim
look at
woman.
her.
Mhm.
That's right. That's
You can
right.
go
That's
into
right.
you can go into a Japanese man's house,
Mm.
and you've already lost when you don't even take your shoes off. So what makes you think you're gonna walk into his house and tell him, "Let me kick you in the stomach"? Let me sleep with you so I can implant that it's not going to happen.
No, no, it's not.
Why? Because their culture demands that you recognize who they are and recognize what they will have
Thank
and
you.
where they will be before you
Thank you.
do anything else.
That's right. That's right.
To call them anything other than what they know they are.
Thank you. Woo.
Period.
Woo. Listen. This can go on. We're going to have a part two. We really have to have a part two.
I agree.
And yes, we have to have a part two, because this is something that we need to talk about. I want to thank everybody who joined us. This is I extended this for half an hour, and I just want to thank all the individuals who joined us today. You have become part of our family. Matthew Lewis, Nosferatu, Nwokedi Charles Gochukwu, Adoha Obionyoha. Let's see who's this. I can't pronounce this. It's Tene Wasu, I think. I hope I got your name right, and many others. Thank you so much for all your contribution. And for those of you who did not join us earlier, you certainly can go to Global Faith Ministries of Chiism, Godianism, and you'll be able to read some of the comments and add your own comments to it. This is all about us. There is an African proverb that says, we cannot be talking about other people's problems and issues that we don't address our own. It is imperative that we look at this closely, and all of us who believe in right and wrong must consistently fight evil where we see it. The people that you call evil are not the people that you should be calling evil. The people you should call evil are those that are abusing your culture, abusing your way of life, and taking advantage of your vulnerable population for their own advantage, for their own good. It's time for us to speak up, speak out, and act out if we have to. Whatever, by any means necessary. We've got to get Africa straight. I don't believe that the door is closed. If it's closed, it's us closing it. We have to open that door for opportunity and demand that we get the respect that we're supposed to have. Chineke did not create us to be subservient to any human being. Why then are we doing that to ourselves? So from now on, look up, look around you, see the power of God, and know that it is all around you. Monachiso. You are walking with God. You have always walked with God. Our ancestors have always walked with God, and we are no longer going to accept this inferiority complex that have been imposed upon us. Just want to remind everybody that the end of the last Sundays of every month, we are going to start having our spiritual libation services. So on the 28th of February, join us. We're going to have a full chaste libation spiritual ceremony. I hope to see all of you there. I certainly will put out information about the ceremony, and you come with I ask you to come with pictures of your ancestors, because when we pour libations, we want to honor your ancestors as well as our own. Thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing all of you again next Sunday. Yeah.
Wow.
And thank you. That was the credit was made before I invited my son Namdi to join us today. So let us please all, of course, thank Namdi for joining us. You're so full of wisdom. I'm so proud of you. Okay, did your try. Thank you. All right. And so it is. Yagazie.